There's a leaf lying on the cutting board in my kitchen right now. It is about as long as my forearm, thick as a good pork chop, gray-green, with little soft teeth running down both edges. I cut it a few minutes ago off a potted aloe vera plant sitting in my south window. The same plant half of you have sitting in a window somewhere and have never once thought about eating. Inside that leaf is a clear gel that people pay $8 and $10 a bottle for at the drugstore, watered down until it is barely the same plant. The real thing has been sitting on your windowsill for free the whole time. But before you go cut a leaf and take a bite, hold on. There is one thing inside that leaf that does not belong in your stomach, and the old ones down in the desert country knew exactly how to get it out before the first taste ever happened. Stay with me to the end, because that step is not superstition. It is one specific thing this plant carries just under its skin, and it is the whole difference between a good food and a long, miserable afternoon. I'm Wes Kingfisher. I'm 64 years old. I'm of Cherokee heritage, and I was raised by my grandmother Ada in the hills of eastern Oklahoma, where I still live today. She taught me the plants and the kitchen, and my grandfather and uncles taught me the woods. 40 years on the powwow trail taught me the rest, from the northern plains to the desert southwest, where I learned this plant from the people who know it best. The old ones never wrote any of it down. I'm telling it to you before it's gone. Now, walk down the aisle of any drugstore in America, and you will find my windowsill plant everywhere. Aloe juice at $4 and $5 a quart, aloe gel at $8 a tube, aloe capsules, aloe lotion, aloe drinks with a picture of the desert on the label. Turn one of those bottles around sometime and read the small print. Water, thickener, preservative, citric acid, and somewhere down the list, aloe. You're paying steady money month after month for a thin copy of a plant that costs about $5 once at the garden center and then spends the rest of its life making free copies of itself, little pups, coming up all around the base. But here's the trouble. The folks who figure that out usually go home, cut a leaf, take a big bite, and never touch the plant again. It tastes bitter as a green persimmon, and it treats the stomach rough, and they decide the whole idea was foolishness. It was not foolishness. It was a missing step. The people who taught me this plant never ate it the way you would eat a cucumber. There was an order to it. Cut it a certain way. Stand it a certain way. Wait a certain amount of time. And what drips out of that leaf while you wait is the thing I promised to explain, because it is the entire story of this plant. We will get there before we are done. Now, everything I am walking you through today comes out of a book I put together called The Native American Way. 101 remedies, skills, and recipes that kept my people alive on this land for 10,000 years, written down plain, step by step, because the old ones never wrote anything down and somebody had to. The backyard plants and exactly how they use them. The teas and salves out of my grandmother Ada's kitchen. The wild foods and when to gather them. Fire and shelter and water. And the recipes that fed the people through every winter. This aloe preparation has its own page in there. If you would rather learn a thing once than rent it from a store shelf forever, that book was written for you. It is $17 right now, marked down from $47, which is less than 2 quarts of that watered-down aloe juice, for knowledge with 10,000 years of testing behind it. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera. the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, back to my kitchen and back to that leaf on the cutting board. First, you ought to know something honest about this plant, because I do not deal in made-up history. Aloe vera did not start on this continent. It came from the old deserts across the ocean, and it rode here on Spanish ships through Mexico about 400 years ago. It spread up through Mexico into Texas and the desert Southwest, and the desert people down there looked at it, tested it, and took it in. Our people have always done that. We made the peach our own, we made the horse our own, and the people of the desert country made aloe their own, growing it by the door and passing down the right way to handle it. That is where I learned it, on the circuit, in the dry country, from elders who kept a row of aloe plants the way my grandmother Ada kept her garden rows in Oklahoma. The land gives you everything. You just have to know what you're looking at. So let's make sure you're looking at the right plant. True aloe vera grows in a rosette like a green star, leaves curving up from the center like cupped hands. The leaves are thick and plump and gray-green, and when you press one it gives a little like a ripe plum. The edges carry small, soft teeth. You can run your thumb along without harm. Young plants often show pale white speckles on the leaves, and those speckles fade as the plant grows up. Now hear the warning, because there is a look-alike and it matters. The agave, the one folks call the century plant, grows in big landscaping beds all across the South and the Southwest, and from the truck window it favors aloe. It is not aloe. Agave leaves are rigid and flat and fibrous inside, no gel to speak of, and each leaf ends in a hard black spine that will go right through a work glove. Worse, the raw sap of many agaves can burn and blister bare skin. So use the bend test. An aloe leaf is plump and flexes in your hand. An agave leaf is stiff as a barn board. If the leaf fights you, leave it alone. Once you know your plant, choosing the leaf is simple. You want the outer leaves, the lowest ones on the plant. Those are the oldest, the thickest, and the fullest of gel. Pick a leaf at least as long as your forearm if the plant has one. Take a clean, sharp kitchen knife. Cut the leaf close to the base, at a slant, in one smooth stroke. Take one leaf, maybe two. Leave the rest standing. The plant seals that cut on its own and keeps right on growing, and that is the old rule at work. Take only what you need and let the source recover. Now comes the step that most folks have never seen, and it is the one this whole video hangs on. Do not lay that leaf flat and start cutting. Stand it up. Take a tall glass or a quart jar and stand the leaf in it cut end down like a stalk of celery in water, except with no water. Then walk away for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, the full 10, not 3. While you pour yourself a cup of coffee, a yellow sap is going to run out of that cut end and pool in the bottom of the jar. It looks a little like maple syrup with a bad attitude, and it smells sharp. When the dripping stops, pour that yellow out and rinse the jar. Remember that yellow? I told you at the start there is one thing in this leaf that does not belong in your stomach, and you just watched most of it leave. What it actually is, and why the old ones treated it with so much respect, is coming at the end, and it is worth the wait. With the leaf drained, we fillet it. and I mean that the way you would mean it with a catfish. Rinse the leaf under cool water and lay it flat on the cutting board. Take your sharp knife and trim off the toothed edge on one side, a thin strip, the way you would trim the fin line off a fillet. Do the same on the other side. Now slide the knife flat under the top skin, right where the green meets the clear, and run it the length of the leaf in slow strokes. Lift that green skin away. Turn the piece over. Do the same on the second side. What is left on your board is a clear, glistening slab of gel, pale as ice, about the size of a small trout fillet. Take your time with the knife. There is no rush, and the slab is slippery. That fillet gets one more cleaning, and this is the step everybody skips. Rinse it under cool running water, turning it over until your fingers stop finding any slick yellow film on the surface. Then put it in a bowl of cool water and let it soak for 10 minutes. 10 minutes again, same as the drain. Some of the old folks I learned from changed the water once partway through, and I do the same. So gather it back up, because the whole method is short. Cut low, stand and drain 10 minutes, fillet the skin away, rinse, and soak 10 more. That is the entire preparation, 20-some minutes, most of it waiting. Now you eat it, and I will be straight with you about what to expect. Clean properly, aloe gel is mild, cool, and nearly tasteless, with a texture somewhere between melon and soft-set jelly. It is slippery. That is its nature, and no amount of rinsing changes it. So the trick is to pair it instead of fighting it. Cut the fillet into cubes about the size of dice. Drop 3 or 4 cubes into a tall glass of cold water with a good squeeze of lime. Stir it and drink it down, cubes and all, on a hot afternoon. Stir a spoonful of cubes into a jar of honey and keep it in the ice box and take it by the spoon. Or drop the cubes into the blender with whatever fruit is on the counter, and they disappear into the smoothie entirely. Start small. 1 or 2 tablespoons of gel a day. And I mean 1 or 2 tablespoons, not a bowlful, because this is a food you ease into, not a contest. And if you're on medications, have a word with your doctor before you add anything new. The old ones would tell you the same in their own words. Respect what you take in. For keeping, a cleaned fillet holds about a week in a sealed jar in the refrigerator, and the cubes freeze beautifully in an ice cube tray, 1 cube being right close to 1 tablespoon. And do not forget the oldest use of all, the outside of you. Keep back a strip of leaf with the gel still on the skin, a sunburned neck, dry cracked winter hands. The small burn you take off a cast iron skillet handle. That split leaf rub gel side down is the comfort our people in the desert reach for first. I watched an elder down in the dry country do exactly that at a cook fire. No drama, no fuss. Just a leaf off the plant by the door. It cools, it soothes, and the plant grows you a fresh tube of it every week for free. Which brings us to the promise I have been carrying since the top of this video. That yellow sap you drained into the jar. It has a name. It is called aloe latex, and it lives in a thin layer of little channels right between the green skin and the clear gel, which is exactly why we stood the leaf upright, so gravity could pull it out of those channels before the knife ever touched the gel. That latex carries a compound called aloe, and aloe is a strong natural laxative, strong enough that the plant uses it as a defense, because a desert animal that chews an unprepared leaf learns quick and does not come back. The old ones understood both sides of that. They knew the leaf held 2 different things, a gentle food and a harsh medicine, and they never let the two get confused. The drain and the soak are how they kept them separate: a jar, a knife, and 20 minutes of patience. And here is the part that ought to make you smile. Those aloe juice companies with the desert on the label spend real money on charcoal filters and processing tanks to strip that same aloe out. And they print the word purified on the bottle like they invented something. They did with machinery what an elder does with a quart jar: 10,000 years of testing. That's the guarantee on this one. And that is the kind of thing that was handed to me for free, around a fire, by people who asked nothing for it but attention. There are 101 of those in the Native American way: the remedies, the wild foods, the survival skills, and the old kitchen, each one written out plain and step by step so it does not die with me. $17, down from $47, and it is yours for good. No refill, no subscription, no small print. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So that is the whole of it. Cut the low outer leaf, stand it in a jar for 10 minutes, fill it away the skin, rinse and soak, and eat the clear gel a tablespoon or two at a time. If you cut your first leaf this week, come back and tell me how it went and what state you are in. I read every single one. Next time, I'm going to show you the tree that grows along nearly every creek in America, the one whose bark my grandmother simmered for everyday aches, and how the biggest pill company on earth built its whole empire on that old recipe. Wado, my friends. That means thank you. Walk easy, and I'll see you down the trail.